provide a brief recap of our coordinated search efforts for the 21-foot submersible with 5 people on board, along with providing an update on current search efforts and plans for the next 24 hours. Our crews are working around the clock to ensure that we are doing everything possible to locate the Titan and the 5 crew members. Yesterday, we stood up a unified command consisting of expertise from the United States Coast Guard, the United States Navy, Canadian Armed Forces and Coast Guard, and the Titan's parent company, Ocean Gate Expedition. This is a complex search effort which requires multiple agencies with subject matter expertise and specialized equipment. While the U.S. Coast Guard has assumed the role of search and rescue mission coordinator, we do not have all of the necessary expertise and equipment required in a search of this nature. The Unified Command brings that expertise and additional capability together to maximize effort in solving this very complex problem. On Sunday, the Coordination Command Center in Boston received a report from the Canadian expedition vessel Polar Prince of an overdue 21-foot submarine Titan with 5 people on board. The Titan was attempting to dive on the wreck of the Titanic approximately 900 miles east of Cape Cod and 400 miles south of St. John's, Newfoundland. Approximately 1 hour and 45 minutes into the scheduled dive, the Polar Prince lost all communication with the Titan. The Polar Prince conducted an initial search and then requested Coast Guard assistance. The U.S. Coast Guard in Boston assumed the responsibility of search and rescue mission coordinator and immediately launched search assets. Since Sunday, the Coast Guard has coordinated search efforts with the U.S. and Canadian Coast Guard, Air National Guard aircraft, and the Polar Prince, which has searched a combined 7,600 square miles, an area larger than the state of Connecticut. These search efforts have focused on both surface, with C-130 aircraft searching by sight and with radar, and subsurface, with P-3 aircraft were able to drop and monitor sonar buoys. To date, those search efforts have not yielded any results. Search efforts have continued through last night and today. Today, the vessel Deep Energy, a 194-meter pipe-laying vessel, arrived on scene with underwater ROV capability. They have rendezvoused with the vessel Polar Prince and commenced an ROV dive at the last known of the position of the Titan and the approximate position of the Titanic wreck. That operation is currently ongoing. Additionally, a Canadian P-3 aircraft is currently conducting a 6-hour search of the area, and several C-130 aircraft and another P-3 are scheduled to fly this afternoon and this evening. The Canadian Coast Guard cutter, or vessel, John Cabot, is scheduled to arrive later this evening, and several other Canadian Coast Guard vessels and the Coast Guard cutter Sycamore are en route. Additionally, the U.S. Coast Guard has the U.S. Navy's STiLL Supervisor of Salvage and Diving Command is working with U.S. Transportation Command to bring additional assets to the search area. These more capable assets will be staged out of St. John's for further transport to the search area. There are also several private vessels, research vessels with ROV capabilities that are making preparations to join the efforts. So I want to reiterate, this is a very complex search, and the unified team is working around the clock to bring all available assets and expertise to bear as quickly as possible in an effort to solve this very complex problem.
If your submersibles can find this sub, is there any way to retrieve it and save the people on board?
Yeah, so right now all of our efforts are focused on finding the sub. What I will tell you is we have a group of our nation's best experts in the Unified Command, and if we get to that point, those experts will be looking at what the next course of action is.
Captain, how many hours of oxygen are left that you know of, or that you can estimate right now on the submersible? And does it have to be approved or regulated?
Sure. So first of all, it's an estimate, right? Because we know from the data we were using as a starting point was 96 hours. We know at this point we're approximately about 41 hours.
41 hours left.
Yes.
Even with that amount of time that's left, let's say 41 hours or so, if you were to find the submersible at this moment, would that give you enough time to save these 5 people on board?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question. What I will tell you is we will do everything in our power to effect a rescue. Again, it's going to depend on if the ROV finds something. It's going to depend on what they find, what needs to be, what steps need to be taken next, and really that is for the experts within the Unified Command to take a look at.
So it sounds like they, as you mentioned, they have that ROV, which is a remotely operated underwater vehicle. So basically they sent that remotely operated vehicle right in the spot where it started to dive, and they're sending that down. So as far as I understand, that's not a manned device. That's just a vessel that goes down, they control by remote control with a camera on it. Now, they said it has limited capabilities, so that might mean it probably can't get down to the Titanic, but it could probably get halfway there.
Thought it was fascinating that the Coast Guard said, we don't have a water vessel capable of going down 13,000 feet. That to me, yeah. And not all that surprising. That's an incredible depth. You would imagine the U.S. Navy would probably have something more, more equipped to be able to go down to that depth. But that's why this is a public and private partnership trying to bring in all resources possible to try to find the Titan sub.
And NATO also said that as well. Their capabilities are super limited in terms of what they have for a vessel that can get to those depths. It can't. So that's a big challenge. But then I thought it was interesting too. They asked the question, what happens if you find it? How do you get the people out? Well, he responded, the job is to find it, and then the experts will come in to figure out how we get the people out. So they got to find it first, which is the needle in the haystack question, like where do we even begin to try to look?